Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keep Fit podcast. My name is Axel. Now, today I want to talk a little bit about the war on Iran. Now, all I'm going to say today is based of what I am learning from Professor Jiang. Professor Jiang has gone viral for the last couple of days or probably weeks because in 2024 he predicted everything that is happening today. He predicted Trump's winning. He predicted that President Trump is gonna attack Iran, and that he also predicted, this is the third one and it's already happening, that President Trump, the United States, will lose this war. Okay, so according to him, this war is all about the Strait of Hormuz in Iran. 20% of the oil comes from there. Now, the idea of Israel and United States attacking Iran was all about, of course, the oil, as it has been for probably as long as I remember. So the ones apparently, according to Professor Jiang, he wants to take control of the Strait of Hormuz because there's a big possibility that China, Russia, and Iran are going to form a trade bloc and become a superpower. And of course, the United States doesn't want that. They want to control the oil so they can buy the oil from them. Now, that will be, if that happens, that will be probably most likely the end of the petrodollar. Now, all the Arab nations, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, all those bases, United States bases that were there, they were destroyed by Iran. So things are escalating fast, really, really fast. Now, Iran is attacking Israel. So according to Professor Jiang, Israel wants to take over the Middle East and create a greater Israel. That is some prophecy in the Bible. Now, what is happening right now is that Iran is like demolishing everything in their path. They're very, very resilient, and they're sending cheap drones to fight off the millions of dollars that cost making the interceptors of the drones, the defense system, basically. And Iran is hitting Israel hard, and they're very, very powerful. Now, what is happening is that there's a possibility of ground troops of Iran. There's have been talks about that, but since the military base, the United States military base, are destroyed, but there's kind of no way from getting in. And other thing that Iran did was they blocked the Strait of Hormuz. So no ships are coming in, no ships are coming out. And that's why the gas prices are rising, spiking really, really fast. We are feeling it right here in Puerto Rico. I'm going to present you a video of Professor Jiang talking about why Israel wants United States to lose the war.
And that means a long war that destroys the American political will to fight any more foreign wars. If America loses, Israel becomes the dominant power in the Middle East. You have US, you have Israel, you have Saudi Arabia, and you have Iran. Okay? All right? So, the United States and Iran, they're pretty easy to understand. What the United States wants to do is destroy Iran. Okay? Why? Because if we were to destroy Iran, the United States would have complete control over Middle East oil, and it would control global trade through the Strait of Hormuz. And therefore, the United States can maintain its empire, okay? So a really simple objective. Let's destroy Iran. We don't care how, we don't care why, let's just go do it, okay?
Yeah, but that way they will prevent China and Russia to make the trade bloc with Iran. So they, instead of Iran, the United States wants to do it themselves.
Iran has another strategy, which is control Strait of Hormuz and destroy CENTCOM. CENTCOM is basically the American military in the Middle East, called Central Command, okay? So those are two major military objectives of Iran. And we can understand why. Because if CENTCOM is destroyed, Iran has complete control over the Middle East. Now, Dubai, now Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait have to pay taxes to Iran. Now Iran, the new kid, is now the bully of the Middle East, right? Now it's a hegemon. That is the political objective of this war.
So far, what this war has accomplished is give more power to Iran. Now, I remember, and according to Professor Jiang, also in another interview, he said that Saddam Hussein said, "You can attack me and you can kill me, but all that you will able to do with that is make Iran stronger."
Okay. Israel is a bit more complicated. All right. For Israel, sorry. One other thing is humble Israel.
Humble Israel.
That's the other thing, because even if you defeat the United States, you still have to deal with Israel, okay? And Israel is the great military power of the Middle East. So you want to humble them. You want to weaken them. You can't destroy Israel because Israel has nuclear weapons, right? You piss off Israel, those nukes start flying. You don't want that, all right? So those are the three major political objectives for Iran. Control the...
That's why Iran has been attacking relentlessly Israel, and they have Tel Aviv almost destroyed and other places. Apparently, the house of Bibi Netanyahu was also destroyed, and his brother was killed. But I'm still looking into that. There was a report a few days ago, but I'm still looking into that to see how true was that.
Strait of Hormuz, destroy SANCOM, and humble Israel. Okay? If you are Israel, actually for you, the strategy is different. What you want to do is this. You want to destroy CENTCOM and destroy Iran.
Remember that CENTCOM is Central Command of the United States.
Okay? Those are your objectives. Why? Because if you destroy both the United States and you destroy Iran, then you are the sole hegemon in the Middle East. Okay? Also destroy the GCC. Destroy Saudi Arabia as well. Why? Because once Saudi Arabia is destroyed, all its resources belong to you, okay? And this creates something called the Greater Israel Project, which is what we'll discuss next class. But as you can see, that's really important, is that even though the United States and Israel are allies, their ultimate strategy is different. Their objectives are different. In fact, they're in conflict, okay? Then you have Saudi Arabia. What does Saudi Arabia want to do? Well, destroy Iran, because if you destroy Iran, you have complete control of the Strait of Hormuz. Then you can be the bully, okay? But you also want to destroy the US, and you want to humble Israel.
So we have a classic four battle royale right there, with different objective, but from different but the same objective, because of Israel and the United States, they both want the same thing, but things that want Iran, Israel wanted too, and Saudi Arabia too. And this is a classic four battle way royal.
All right, does that make sense? All right. So by understanding how each player perceives the game, we can now understand how they will go about their strategy, right? So the United States just wants to destroy Iran. But as you can see, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Iran all want to destroy the United States. And how do you do that? You do that by forcing the United States into a long ground war, right?
That we lose.
Therefore, if you're Israel, you don't want to use nukes. Why? Because nukes would end the war too quickly. You want to drag this war out as long as possible to force the United States to send in ground troops.
Because by extending the war, United States doesn't have the ammunition, because it's too expensive. And by prolonging the war, United States will put more resources in and more money. And United States is big. We all part of the United States. And the resources will eventually run out. Okay, so that's why by prolonging the war, Remember, the United States missiles cost around $4 million or something like that. That's insane. And Iran is using $20,000 drones.
And then you're like, well, why doesn't the United States use nuclear weapons? And the answer is already told you, the escalation ladder. It needs to justify itself to the people, okay? When you do anything, all right, you have to worry about troop morale. Your soldiers have to believe that they are fighting for a good cause, okay? You have to worry about public opinion. You have to make sure that the world is on your side. You have to worry about politics, political will. You have to make sure the people are unified, and you have to worry about enemy morale. You don't want to piss off your enemy so much that they go into an extreme, they jump the escalation ladder to extreme beyond your control. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? So as you can see, war is extremely complicated. It's not just about weaponry. It's not just about resources. It's ultimately about controlling the narrative, controlling the political landscape. Okay.
Yeah, you have to convince the soldiers they're doing the right thing. But in this day and age, it's very, very hard because we are so exposed to the truth, and everybody's saying don't do this, don't do that, and so military movies that make us see the reality of stuff. It's very complicated. How can United States can convince the troops to go there? Because the other day a Marine, they broke his arm and he was yelling at the courtroom. They was like, we don't want to fight this war. Okay, so let's see what Professor Jiang has to say.
Okay, marshaling the resources in a proper way that is strategically beneficial. Yeah, so we just answered two questions. Will the United States use ground troops? Yes, it will, because Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Israel will work together to force a ground invasion, even though the United States doesn't want to do so. But unfortunately, the United States doesn't have a clear, coherent strategy. It's passive. Therefore, it can be manipulated into sending a ground invasion, okay? And the second question is, will Israel and the United States use nuclear weapons? And the answer is no, because it's not in their best interest to use nuclear weapons. Okay? Israel wants the United States to lose this war. And so that means a long war.
Now, we already know that this war is not approved by Congress. And a lot of things has been said that, about the presidents and the prime ministers being war criminals. We can argue that, and we can look for evidence for that, which is probably true. I believe so, but I'm nobody. So if United States or Israel use nuclear weapons on innocent people, remember they already bombed a school and killed a lot of kids, civilians, and whether it was an accident or not, there's still some investigation. Although there's proof that it was a missile shot by the United States, we're still looking into that. Using a nuclear weapon will end the war, will kill millions of people, and it will be another dark age in the human history.
That destroys the American political will to fight any more foreign wars. If America loses, Israel becomes the dominant power in the Middle East.
So how you using United States to win a war, but you want your allies, you want United States to lose the war so you can become the superpower. That's the part that I'm still trying to understand. Let's see if Professor Jiang can have some answers to that.
Thursday. Any questions?
Yeah, that will be my question, is if I was there.
Will Americans take over Iran like what they did to Venezuela?
The strategy in the beginning was to do a Venezuela in Iran. Meaning you go in, you kill the leader, a new leader emerges, negotiate with you, and surrender to you because you're too powerful. Okay? But Venezuela and Iran are two very different countries. The Venezuelan elite is very pro-American, meaning that their wealth, their children, their family is stored in America. Therefore, the Venezuelan elite have a vested interest in negotiating a deal with America to protect their own interests. But for 40 plus years, America has sanctioned the Iranian elite, and Iran has become poor and angry and disgruntled because of that. Therefore, they lose nothing by fighting you, okay? So even though you've killed the supreme leader, and you've killed many of their leaders, in fact, the elite themselves are unified in opposing you. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, any more questions? Yep. Alan?
So, I in fact have a question about the motivation of U.S. to involve in this war. Like as you said, that U.S. want to control all the oil, so like they must destroy Iran. But I think this is like a little bit confusing because I think U.S. know that this war is really highly risk and it can potentially even like destroy the whole systems. So why U.S. risk the risk of like whole system collapsing to like control the oil that Iran had?
Yeah, so far the stock market has been going down in every country. I think Japan, Russia, China, Korea their market, the stock market is going down fast because of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Israel stopped all the oil flow there, and it's raising their prices.
Okay, all right. So this is the key question that everyone's arguing about. Quite honestly, we're gonna argue this for the rest of eternity, okay? We're gonna argue this for eternity because like no one knows. And there's never gonna be a clear answer. In fact, there are multiple possibilities, okay? What I'm gonna do today is offer you the most simple explanation. In the next class, I will offer you a much more complicated explanation, okay? But the simple explanation is this. Again, this goes back to military doctrine, how the United States military works, okay? And the military doctrine is prevent the heartland from arising. So the United States is here, this is Europe, this is Russia, this is Iran, India, China, Japan, this is Middle East, and this is Africa. All right, so the American military doctrine is this. The greatest threat to American power is the heartland unifying, okay? Why? Because if the heartland unifies, it can trade by itself through railways. But America is primarily a naval power. Therefore, it requires people to trade by sea. Okay? And so its strategy is to make sure there's never any cohesion in the heartland. Either by making sure that no great power arises in the heartland, and that's why America went to war in World War I and World War II, because there's a great fear that Germany would conquer the world, or Europe and Asia, and create the heartland, okay? Therefore, America had to stop Germany from rising.
Because it will be extremely big against the United States. And the United States controls the Navy, controls the air, but it all end up by land. And all those countries uniting, it will be basically the end of the empire of the United States, which is why United States, they need to attack and get rid of Iran as fast as possible, but it's not working out.
So you either make sure no great power arises, or you create so much conflict that they're always fighting each other. And that used to work before, okay? Now, there's a problem. The problem is the BRICS nations. Russia, Iran, and China are coming together. And if they come together, guys, that's a major piece of the heartland. And everyone else, Europe, Middle East, Africa, India, would probably follow, okay? Because it is easier to trade in the heartland than it is to trade with America, especially with the US dollar declining, right? So, in other words, the United States has no choice but to fight this war, because that's their entire strategy to maintain hegemony in the world, to prevent the heartland from unifying. All right? Does that make sense?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like once you destroy Iran, the heartland fractures. There's no way that they can now trade together anymore. They're still reliant on American maritime routes, okay?
Yeah, because America, United States will become the heartland. So this is what America wants. They want to become the heartland and control the oil for the other countries, and that's how the petrodollar, our economic system, will keep up. The problem is that it's not working out because they're losing the war, and Israel, they have another agenda in their mind. So it's gonna be very, very interesting. World War III is right in our doorstep.
America maintains is still the hegemon because it controls world trade. Whoever controls world trade controls the world. Whoever controls the heartland controls world trade.
Guys, there you have it. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think about this? Well, it feels like a little bit like Professor Jiang said in another interview. This is like wrestling. So is Israel going to betray United States down the lane once they got what they want, or the United States is going to betray Israel, or it's going to happen? This is a major cliffhanger. So the latest talk I heard in the news is that ground troops are most likely to hit Iran. Now the problem is that according to Professor Jiang, the United States needs at least 2 million soldiers. So a draft had to take place, but the youth don't want to go to war. We don't want to go to war. Nobody wants to go to war. China has declared that they want their a ceasefire, United States to Iran and vice versa, and back to the negotiations. But major damage and a lot of people has already died in this war. So what's gonna happen, guys? I will cover more this topic. I know this is a martial art business channel and we were covering a lot of things, but I think that it's very important that I'll be just another channel, another platform, letting you guys know what it's going on. Okay, so like, subscribe to the channel, support the channel. Now the super thanks are enabled, and I'll see you in another video coming soon real fast, because we're covering this. Okay, it's very professionally, no dissing, no bashing. I want to keep things just like Professor Jiang has been teaching too. Okay, so guys, see you in the next video. Now there you have it. Let's try to have fun.